Welcome back everyone to another video by
Game Dev Journey.
This will be the end result of today's tutorial. We will have a player and you'll be able to pass through the platforms from below and above. Let's get started. Before we begin, it's a good idea to just organize our project to keep it clean. So let's create a few folders here. I'll call this one tiles, and we can put our tile map inside that. Let's make another one called scripts, another one called scenes, and let's make one called the player. And let's make one called shaders. So we can go ahead and put our scripts into our scripts folder, our shader into our shaders folder, our scenes into our scenes folder, and our final scene there. Now player, I'm going to put all the animations for the player into that folder. I'm going to drag and drop them in there. And here you can see we have the animations all ready to go. So we're just keeping ourselves neat and tidy as we go so that we can focus on what's important. So what we're going to do now is create a player scene. So let's go ahead and start a new scene, and let's just have an empty scene there. Let's add a character body as the child. Let's rename this to player. And we're getting a warning here because a character body has no shape. It's just a physical body. So to represent the character, we're going to add an animated sprite. And we get another warning here that the sprite needs sprite frames. So we'll go ahead and on the animation property on sprite frames, we'll go new sprite frames, and then we'll open up the frames at the bottom here. This is going to allow us to have control of our animations. Now we've got a default one here, which I'm going to rename to idle. In fact, we'll just keep them all lowercase. And I'm going to add a new animation for each type of behavior that the player has. So this one can be run. We can have another one for jump. Another one for double jump. Another one for fall. And wall jump. And also for when the player gets hit. I think that's all we need for now. So now we need to actually import the images. So if we go to our player folder here, we have all the images we need. And let's start with double jump, for instance. So because they're in a sprite frame at the moment, we can go over here, add frames from sprite sheet, click on it. We can find them in the player. Here's double jump, open it, and here we go. We've got our settings. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 horizontal frames. Change that to 6. Only one vertical frame. That should do. It's already resized it to 32 by 32. We select all of them and we add the frames. These are the frames for double jumping. I don't know what the speed should be, but I'm going to take a guess at 20 FPS and I'm going to leave it on looped. Now I'm going to go and do the same thing for fall. So here's fall. It's only one frame, so I'm just going to drag it in. That's fall. So this is not really going to matter at all. Hit, click on hit. So here we go, hit, open. It's already remembered what I did last time, so I'll just select them all and change this to 20. Move on to idle and add frames. Find idle over there, open it, 11 frames. Select them, add them, increase the speed to about 20. Jump is a single frame as well, I think, so we can just drag that in. Run, we'll have to add. Where's run? There. Open it up. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 frames. By 1. Select them, add them, increase the speed. Finally, move on to wall jump, which will add. There it is. Wall jump, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames. By 1. Select them, add them. This one I don't think speed really matters, but we'll confirm that later. So now I have animations ready to go for all of the behaviors for my player. But this tutorial is not going to be about animating the player. It's going to be about creating the fall through platforms. So we'll go ahead and do that first. I'm just going to zoom in here on the player because the player has no hitbox. So we need to go ahead and add a hitbox for the player. And we will just do that in the normal way. We will create a child of character body, which will be a collision shape 2D. Create that. For the shape, we'll grab a rectangle and we'll just resize it so that it fits nicely over our sprite. Like so. Now we can save the player scene in our scenes folder as player, save it, and we are just about ready to go. If we drop this player into our level at the moment, it will fall through the level. Let me just show you that. So if we go to our scenes here, grab the player and put it, say, there. And if we now run this scene, well, the player doesn't move at all, in fact, because it's just a picture. There isn't even gravity acting on the player. So what we need to do is add a script. Go ahead and add a script for the player, and the template is going to be a character body 2D basic movement template. This will give us a pre-made code which will allow our player to move and have gravity acting on it and so on and so forth. And I'm going to go and rename it to player.gd and create. And there it is. And it's got all this code already on it. So now if we save, return to the level where we've got the player, if we run this at the moment, the player will fall through the level. Okay, and there you saw the player go straight through the level. And that's because our player is not colliding with the level. If we go to the collision, our player, if you remember the names we gave the layers, layer 1 is player. So layer 1 in this case is looking to collide with layer 1. So we're saying the player is colliding with itself, and that's the only thing that's on. So it's only going to collide with itself. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. We may as well turn that off. We want the player layer, which is number 1, to collide with the ground layer and the pass-through layer. So we can click on these little dots to visualize this and click on ground and pass-through. And there you can see it turns on 2 and 3. So that now, if we go and look at the level again and run it again, the player will land and collide. And we can actually move and jump. We can actually pass through this platform from below, but we can't fall back down by pressing the down key. But we can pass through from below because we made it a one-way collision. All right, so what we need to do, and the goal of our tutorial today, is to make it so that we can pass through in both directions. We want to be able to fall back down. So let's modify our script to do that. So if we go back to the script for the player, before we make that custom code, let's also organize this process function because it's going to get big. There's a lot going on already, and we can make it cleaner. So what I'm going to do is for each of these commented areas, I'm going to put that in its own function. So we'll have 3 functions here. So I'm going to create a new function here called, what should we call it? Add gravity. Add gravity, which is going to require delta to come in. And we can then just go and take this, add the gravity, cut it, and we'll put it in there. All right, that's our add gravity function. Then we'll add another function called jump. And we will take this code here and put it in jump. Okay. And now we'll add in one more function called run. And we'll go and grab this and put it in run. And now we have 3 functions, add gravity, jump, and run. Now none of them will work unless we call them. So let's call add gravity and send through delta. Let's call jump and let's call run. And then just do that so that our physics process now is composed of these 4 function calls: add gravity, jump, run, and move and slide. So if we save and run the game again, you'll see that nothing has changed. Everything works just as before. It's just that our code is a lot cleaner now. So now we want to create our custom function to fall back through the platform. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, we're going to make a new function which we'll call pass through. So let's go function, or we could even call it jump through. Let's call it jump through. Okay. And the way it's going to work is if we're pressing the down key, we turn off mask number 3. So we turn off collisions on layer 3, which is the pass through. So if you happen to be standing on something that's on layer 3, which is the pass through layer, and you're pressing down, collisions on it will turn off and you will pass through it. That's exactly what we want to do. Let's see if our theory will work. Right. So we want to say if input dot is action pressed, and we want UI down. Then we want to set the collision mask value on layer 3 to false. So it turns it off, right? Otherwise, we want to make it true. So let's copy that. Okay. That's our plan. If you are pressing down and you happen to be standing on layer 3, which is the pass-through layer, it will turn off. Otherwise, it will turn on. Okay, so let's call this method jump through. I'm going to call it here. And jump through. Okay, and save and test it. Go back to our level. And run it. And we can move around, we can jump, we can pass through from below, and we can fall through when we press down. Well, as simple as that. I hope that this was useful to you. In our next tutorial, we will work on animating the player. See you next time.